I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and I'm taking care of business. Joining me today is Franco Terrazzano, who is Federal Director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. What a cool location you've got there, Franco. Tell me what you're doing right now.
Pretty cool. Hey, I'm in Salmon Arm, British Columbia. We just kicked off the Canadian Taxpayers Federation National Debt Clock Tour. Behind me, you got our brand new debt clock, and we're going coast to coast all over Canada to show all Canadians the Trudeau government's $1 trillion debt. And Mario, as you can see, it's going up in real time. They're already at $1 trillion in debt and is going up by about $4,500 every second. So our conversation here is going to be an expensive one for taxpayers.
So tell me the plan with this tour. So you're just driving that truck across the country, hitting major spots, or?
Yeah, that's essentially it. We started in Victoria on Monday. We're going to take it all the way out to the East Coast, all the way out to the Atlantic. Right now, we're in Salmon Arm, so we're even going to, some smaller cities. We're going to go to some smaller towns, but of course, we're going to hit the big cities as well. We really just want to be able to show as many Canadians as possible the Trudeau government's debt going up in real time. Already at more than $1 trillion. And here's a real big number. Not only do we have the final big tab, we're also showing Canadians what they owe personally, and each Canadian is on the hook for more than $30,000, Mario, in federal government debt.
And I'm seeing up there, I'm seeing the scrolling of numbers. So every second where that total is going up, right?
Every second is going up by about $4,500 per second. So what does that mean every day? Every day it's going up by about $400 million. Now, one of the reactions I've heard from a lot of people who've been passing by is like, when are we ever going to see that number going down? And that's the exact question that the CTF has for the federal government.
Okay, tell me the impact. What's in real terms for people, the average Joe on the street, you, me, and everybody else, what's the impact of seeing that $1 trillion debt?
Well, the impact is that this is going to hit your pocketbooks. The truth of the matter is that if the federal government doesn't find some ways to actually save some money and to stop this deep dive into debt, then this money has to come from taxpayers one way or another, right? Either taxes today, taxes plus interest tomorrow, or through the inflation tax, which we're already feeling. We just saw the numbers come out today, 5.7% inflation, the highest in 3 decades. And we're seeing that the cost of big government is increasing the cost of living our lives.
So what do we need to do? Or what does a government need to do, whether it's a liberal government or maybe it's a conservative government in the future? What do we need to do to get a handle on this beast?
Well, the federal government has to do what businesses and families have been doing, finding some ways to save some money. Remember, the federal government was spending all-time highs even before the pandemic. In 2018, the Trudeau government spent more than the federal government did during any single year during World War II. So finding savings in every area of the budget should be like finding water in the ocean. But here's some concrete examples. We've talked about the MP pay raises during the pandemic. That shouldn't be happening. They shouldn't be handing out a bunch of corporate welfare. Over 5 years, we've calculated about $18 billion in corporate welfare announcements. What about the gun ban and buyback? Some estimates say that'll be billions of dollars, but even worse than just the big taxpayer tab, the people on the front lines, the RCMP union, say it won't make Canadians safer. So those are the type of savings that we need to see from this federal government.
Okay, this is an interesting question, and I know, Franco, you probably heard my conversation with one of your people here as we were setting this up. How long did she say it was going to take if someone was to count from 1 to that current number?
Well, I wish I heard. I was walking around. I don't have that off the top of my head. I think it was something 30,000 something. I wish I had it.
I think that was it. 30,000 years.
Oh, which is absolutely mind-boggling. And that's the thing, right? This $1 trillion debt, it's such a big number. That's why we broke it down for what it means for each individual. And each individual, it means that you owe $30,000 in federal debt. And Mario, I know I'm being the bearer of bad news today, but I got more bad news. This is just federal government debt. You also owe provincial government debt as well. And if you add provincial government debt onto the tab, you're looking at about $57,000 per person in Canada on average.
Okay, so so for old folks like me, right? You know, who maybe I don't know how many years I've got left, maybe 20. Who knows, right? And I'm done with it, right? And there won't be a concern of mine, right? But I guess this is for future generations. Their futures are at stake here, isn't it?
Well, and that's really where the unfairness aspect comes into this. I know so many Canadians, they want to leave their kids and grandkids a path to success, a good financial future. And this is where the $1 trillion debt tab can really be crushing. It'll be a whopping tab for your kids, your grandkids to pay off. Mario, I know we've chatted about this before, but the Parliamentary Budget Officer's data says that under the status quo, the feds wouldn't balance the budget until 2070. And if that were to happen, the debt tab per person would reach $67,000 per Canadian. That's a huge tab that this government, really the federal government, is leaving to future generations.
All right. Well, Franco, thanks a lot. Enjoy your travels across this beautiful country of ours.
I think it's going to take us about a month to get coast to coast.
It's a long trip, but it's an enjoyable one in many ways, and you get to see the landscape. Thanks a lot, Franco.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on.
All right, that was Franco Terrazzano, who is Federal Director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. I'm Mario Toneguzzi. This has been Taking Care of Business. Thanks for joining us today.